Okay, hi everyone. I'm going to be talking a little bit about building relationships with your Find You chapter. So, starting us off strong, hi everyone. I am Hayden Phillips. I am the current president of UA Miracle. I am 20 years old. I'm from Huntsville, Alabama, and I'm a rising senior at the University of Alabama. I am a Find You and I am also a UA Miracle. So, I kind of have the best of both worlds in this situation. I am so honored and blessed to talk to you guys today about my two favorite things, Find You and UA Miracle. A little bit of backstory. I joined Find You my freshman year. I went through the formal Panhellenic recruitment process, and I absolutely fell in love with the girls of this chapter. We are a chapter of roughly 400 members, so pretty big chapter, and I will touch on that a little bit later throughout this presentation. I first attended BAMathon my freshman year with my sisters, and I completely fell in love with the atmosphere, the culture, the people, and the environment before me. So that's kind of how I got my foot in the door with Miracle. And then I joined staff for Miracle my sophomore year, where I became an assistant director, a color captain on the morale committee. I became morale director my junior year. And now, like I said, I currently serve as the president of UA Miracle. I, funny enough, also serve in Find You. I was the external affairs director this past year, and I now serve as the vice president of chapter development on our executive board. So I have the best of both worlds. Like I said, I'm extremely blessed and honored to share with you guys today my favorite things and how you guys can better build a relationship with your Find You chapter. So, starting us off strong, I want to talk a little bit about the foundation, investing in the relationship. This is so important, so crucial, and these four things are the framework of my entire presentation. So, starting us off strong, cooperation. Cooperation is so important. Nurturing this relationship is powerful, guys. Let me tell you. It is so worth nurturing. I encourage you to really spend time and effort in this relationship with the Find You chapter. Our Find You chapter is extremely hands-on. They go to children's all the time. They do private tours. They write letters to the kids. They meet the families. They understand children's. I understand that not all Find Yous are like this, though. And that might be because they don't know how to be. Take that into consideration. Be a driving force for these Find You chapters. Look into them, talk to them, and cooperate with them. Be empathetic that they might not know how to give back in ways that we do, but let them understand that our hands-on environment that we offer could be what they were looking for. Like I said, they might not know how to be hands-on, but you guys might be the reason that they start to be. Reach out to them. Find the best place for you to fit into their lives. I guarantee they will be happy with the outcome. Next is support. Support is mutual, as it is in every relationship, but I encourage you to let the support go both ways. If you're asking them to come to your dance marathon event, go to one of their events. I'm sure they host philanthropic events all over campus. Whether you're invited or it's open to the public, make sure that you're investing in that and you're supporting them and showing up for them in ways that it matters for them. I have an example of this. And Bottom U is our largest philanthropic event of the year for Find You. We partner with a other fraternity on campus. We get together and it's a huge battle of the bands competition. It's festival style. It's so much fun. And we sell wristbands to raise funds for Children's of Alabama. By reaching out to our UA Miracle exec, we got the opportunity to bond not just on a work level, but a personal level. They came to Bottom U. It was so much fun, and we really enjoyed having them there. It's the little things that really matter in relationships like this. And know that it doesn't all have to be work all the time. It can be a personal relationship too. By inviting them to come support us, we offered it in return in supporting them. And more members of our chapter got to look inward at UA Miracle and start recognizing familiar faces. We host this event in September, so it was really great, especially before BAMathon, to have those people that we could turn to, and the girls could really identify any of the staff members or exec members in Miracle that they knew that they could trust. Communication. If you take nothing away from anything I say, take away this. Communication will make or break this relationship. Communication should be clear and consistent. Make sure that you are constantly reaching out, figuring out any sort of way that you can help and nurture this relationship. It will make the grass greener on the other side if you truly water it. Make sure that you are figuring out what works best for your dance marathon and for their chapter. Don't overdo communication. We all know that can be annoying, but make sure that you're checking up on them, seeing how they feel, inviting them to events. It can go a long way. That moves us into my last point, invitation. Invitation is crucial, just like any friendship or any relationship. Invite them to come with you places. If you see them somewhere, say hi, introduce yourself, make yourself feel, known in their space, and they'll feel known in yours. Welcome them with open arms and always make sure that you are showing up for them when you need to in order to have this super strong partnership. Moving on, I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about a communication struggle that we actually first encountered whenever we first started our relationship. Every relationship has its challenges. I'm not saying that it doesn't. And by being fully transparent with you all, I hope that you leave this presentation feeling more confident in your ability to reach out to your Find You chapter. So, a little bit of backstory. 10 years ago, roughly, we were both, on the University of Alabama campus, and you kind of look around and you're like, you know what? We are raising money for the same exact thing at the same exact time. Now, I see what you're thinking. It could be a little competitive. Luckily, it wasn't, but there's kind of this weird tension that goes on. It wasn't negative tension, it wasn't bad tension, but it was tension. We didn't know how to address this problem before us, and neither party did. We decided just to kind of keep to ourselves and move on. But what we didn't know is that 5 years later, we would merge together for one of the best relationships that we have found on the University of Alabama's campus. In our merger, we came together to identify key areas that we could help support each other. And one of those areas was for FIMU to attend Bamathon, our 12-hour-long event culminating our fundraising year. By inviting them to come to Bamathon, they got a hands-on opportunity to see the change not only that we are making, but also they got the chance to raise money for our organization by being a team for us. It was great. The relationship was off to a steady start, but just like every relationship, there are bumps in the road. Things happen, people change, all of those things, X, Y, and Z. But communication was our biggest problem. We didn't know what to happen if we weren't in constant communication. And to be quite frank, we were not in constant communication. We didn't know that there was a lot of gray area within our relationship that neither party wanted to address. There are problems like recognition, stewardship, participation that, like I said, we just didn't want to bring up at any given moment. But it wasn't until about a year and a half ago that we finally sat down to discuss these issues and figure out how we can make the most of our relationship. It was one of the best moments ever. We sat down with both leadership teams for UA Miracle and Find You, as well as our advisors, and we got the chance to really talk through any of these issues that we were facing. These 4 key points on the screen are all themes that we like to look towards now and things that we have really been working on so that we can make the most out of our relationship. We are proud to have finally reached a level that we are really gracious for. And in the next slide, I'll show you a few of the ways that we maintain this relationship through both parties. Stewardship. It's easy as this. Let me tell you a little bit about our efforts that we make with one another so that we can give you some ideas on how you can better the relationship with your Find You chapter. So starting us off strong, we have decided that annually before Bamathon, it makes the most sense for us to sit down and have a meeting discussing the wants and the needs for the day of Bamathon. So by doing this, we actually brought up the idea to our Find You chapter of hosting our Miracle families for a breakfast before the day of Bamathon. I highly encourage you to do this. If your Find You chapter has a house on campus, I guarantee they would love to host your Miracle families if you give them enough time. Make sure that you're setting the pace for these meetings that is comfortable for both you and for FIMU, especially on a day that is so important, like the day of your marathon. Make sure that you are in constant communication, clear and consistent communication, and making sure that you are reaching out at an appropriate time. In doing this, when we sat down in our meeting, we got to come to a conclusion that this is a great idea. And as you can see, we have a cute banner, balloon art, and our FIMU Philanthropy Chair, Kennedy, with one of our amazing Miracle families. This was a great experience for FIMU to get to personally interact with Miracle families and grow the relationship like nothing we've ever seen before. The girls were so appreciative that the Miracle families wanted to stop by in the morning before breakfast, and it was just a really small way to make a big impact. The second thing that we do is recognize FIMU on stage with an award for being top fundraiser. They have been our top fundraiser for 5+ years now. And I don't know about you guys, but I have a feeling that some of you might be the same way. If your FIMU is actively participating in your marathon, I guarantee they will start being your top fundraiser, or they already are. We present them with this award on stage. They get to come up and accept it. It's a really great moment, and they get to it's a small token of appreciation from us to them, for us to be able to thank them for the things that they are doing on our organization. We also, in this meeting before Bamathon, discussed the opportunity to have a push day. FIMU actually came to us and asked us if we would be willing to do a push day before Bamathon, where we would get to come to the house, talk to the girls, explain what Bamathon is, and then tell them we're doing this fun push day leading up to Bamathon. This graphic you see over here is the graphic that our amazing comms team designed, and we actually had a lot of success with this, and we'll probably do something similar to this year. It was a really easy way to get the girls engaged and involved prior to Bamathon, and they knew what they were raising money for, who they were raising money for, and anyone they could talk to if they needed to. We went to their chapter, which I highly encourage you to do, and we discussed with them what Bamathon was, why we do it, how long we've been doing it, and how much we appreciate FIMU for coming. FIMU sends their entire chapter to Bamathon, and with doing this, we also give them a FIMU room at Bamathon, a private room for them to put their stuff, dress up for theme hours, and just get to relax in between these really long hours of the day. Now they can run in for a quick water break, grab a snack, and head back out to enjoy the day. In this room, we decorated with balloons, streamers, welcome banners, and just a huge thank you to FIMU for all that they do for us on our campus. I also want to talk to you guys about your team captain. If you're utilizing the team captain program, make sure that your team captain is helping you in any way that you can. In stewardship comes finding out who you need to be giving the key points and elements of your communication to, whether that's the president of FIMU, a philanthropy chair, your team captain, or anyone in between. Make sure that you're identifying that so you can feed into this relationship together. Next is the advisor relationship and wanting more. This is Delaney Hayes. She is our amazing advisor for UA Miracle for children's, and she also serves as our children's advisor for FIMU. So we kind of have this two birds, one stone situation where Delaney gets to help us in both aspects. I highly encourage you to reach out to your FIMU chapter and see if maybe you guys share the same children's advisor, and you might not even know it. It's very common to have the same advisor as your FIMU chapter, and you might not even recognize it. So make sure that you're utilizing this relationship and you're asking them, hey, just was wondering, do you have the same advisor? I guarantee you'll be surprised by the answers. By using this advisor relationship, they can have an outside perspective and also serve as a moderator if any sort of issues arise. Use them to your advantage and make sure that you are willingly to participate with both your advisor and your FIMU chapter so you can make the most of every situation. Also, don't be afraid to build and grow with your FIMU chapter. We currently have so many members of FIMU on our staff, directors, and our executive board. I have a multitude of girls serving alongside me who I just love and adore because they are my sisters. But they also love and adore UA Miracle because they have found purpose in the organization. I guarantee if these girls are showing up and showing out and you're showing them the hands-on efforts that you are doing, they will start to join your team. We want to see them join our dance marathons. We want to see FIMUs starting to join the staff, and I highly encourage you to do so. Don't be afraid to ask. Ask them if they need help. Ask them if they need anything to do with children's. Ask them if they want to go on a tour with you. Ask them if they want to go to an event with you. I guarantee it will go a lot farther than you might think. These are just some overall takeaways and just some success that we have seen in our own personal UA Miracle. Increased participation at events. If they come to an event and they love it, I guarantee they will come back. So we have started to see a great number of Fine You's coming to events and staying for events. And it has been so awesome to see. We've grown personal relationships with all sorts of different Fine You's, if they're in leadership positions, not in leadership positions, and I highly encourage you to do the same. Fine You's are joining Miracle on all levels. Like I said before, they are joining on all different levels for UA Miracle, and I guarantee they'll do the same for you if you just reach out and tell them. We actually do this every single year. We've done this for the past 5 years now. We go to their chapter anytime we have applications open, and we tell them about UA Miracle, introduce ourselves, and give them a QR code to scan to apply. This is such an easy way, and you could just reach out about coming to a chapter meeting, stealing 5 to 10 minutes of their time, and getting the girls involved. They also have overall just had an increased willingness to serve, which has been amazing. Of course, we want everyone to serve in any way that they can, but whether that's helping out extra, coming to children, sitting a card, doing any sort of thing, an overall willingness to serve is the entire backbone of Do More. And it has been such a joy to see on our campus, and especially getting to just share the love of children's, share the love of Dance Marathon, and getting to help grow this organization has been a true honor to see. My overall takeaways from you: invite, extend, connect, engage, participate. Don't be afraid to do any of these things. They are so important to creating and building this relationship. I can assure you, your grass will be greener. You will be happier if you nurture this relationship. Don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to ask them to go to a coffee or a quick chit chat just so you can discuss the potential of sliding your foot in the door. If you're already in the door and you're having a hard time with connection, extend, be there, support. Don't be overbearing, but remember the key points that I had. Be there for them, show up for them, and I guarantee they will show up for you. It has been a joy and an honor to talk to you all today. Thank you so much for allowing me this opportunity to speak with you about building relationships with your Fine You chapter. If you ever need anything, please don't hesitate to reach out at uamiracle.ua.edu. I am just one email away. I would love to hear about your current relationship with your Fine You chapter, and if you have seen success through any of the tools and resources that I have shared today. Once again, I'm Hayden Phillips. I'm the president of UA Miracle, and roll tide. Bye, guys.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lizzie Pickering, and I'm the current president of the University of Missouri's Dance Marathon program, Mizzouthon. Today, I will be talking about our adoptive family program and how we can engage with a specific community on campus. First, let's talk about student engagement. Students are most definitely the largest group that will be participating in all of your programs, but it can be difficult interacting with them on a broad level. So to make it easier, prioritize finding specific communities and target the best way to engage with them. Do this by asking yourselves, who's on our campus? How can we best interact with them? What is their goal with their organization? And what are we offering to want them to participate in our program? For us, we prioritize engaging the most with Greek life on campus because they're typically our largest portion of our campus. They're service-oriented. We have shared values. They're seeking leadership positions. They also have an increased involvement with other campus organizations, and they typically bring diversity to our organization. In order to enhance their experience within our organization, Mizzouthon, we've structured a program called Adopt a Family. This works by pairing families with individual sororities or fraternities for the entire school year. They host events for their matched family at either their house or at another venue with their entire chapter. They also attend our events, participate in fundraising, and compete against all the other houses that have adopted families. We also promote one another, whether that be on Instagram or by attending their events as well. This has worked for our school and has increased our engagement because it builds strong and meaningful connections between the families and the members of Greek life. It provides a true perspective of our cause and therefore increases desire to want to be involved. When other houses or organizations see this type of personal engagement, it increases their desire to be involved on this level as well. At the beginning of the year, we started out with 2 of our 9 families being adopted, and by the end of the year, we ended with all 9 of our families being adopted. This has not only increased our family's experience, but has also increased our engagement through year-round commitment. Although we have built a strong program so far, we still plan to continue to grow. We want to do this first by continuing our partnership by participating with more Greek life engagement with our members of our general leadership. We also want to reach out about new partnerships, whether that be through co-pairings or through new pairings if we receive new families. We also are going to bring back Miracle Cup in order to improve the structure to our competition and to increase spirit throughout the year. So I'm sure you're all wondering, how can you adopt this program? The first step is to find a Greek chapter or an organization that aligns with your values. Next, create a presentation and meet with the organization to explain how their engagement can aid your program and why it's mutually beneficial to their organization and to the families. Finally, engage with them as much as possible. This can really go a long way to show your appreciation for all of their contributions to your dance marathon program. Thank you so much for taking the time to learn about our adopted family program. If you have more questions, feel free to reach out to me, and thank you again.
Hey y'all, I hope everyone is having a good day. My name is Abby, and I am Clemson University's executive director of our dance marathon program. So we are Clemson Miracle, and today I'm going to be telling you guys a little bit about one of our best practices to engage Greek organizations on campus. So, we created the first ever Miracle Cup at Clemson. It is a year-long competition between Greek organizations to see who can make the most miracles. So we created this cup last year. So this last year was our first year running it, and it was a big success. So we're going to host it again throughout the year with a couple revisions. So I'll get into that a little bit later in the presentation. But really quick, the goal of the Miracle Cup is to increase engagement of Greek organizations through a friendly competition. So a lot of y'all's schools have a big Greek life component to them. So at Clemson, 1/3 of our student body is involved in a sorority or fraternity. And a lot of these students too are involved in a bunch of other organizations, such as Clemson Miracle. So we're just ultimately trying to engage a wider span of our student population. And then we want to encourage philanthropic efforts as winning organizations of the cup receives a donation to their philanthropy. So we'll also be supporting their philanthropic efforts as well. And then we also want to increase participation in smaller on-campus events hosted throughout the year. So like many other dance marathon programs, we have small events that we host, like starting in October all the way through February or March when we have our dance marathon, that are fundraising events or just like spreading awareness. So we just want to increase participation of those and get a lot of these members of these sororities and fraternities to come out to those and support us and learn more about who we are and what we do. So our biggest success to come out of this Miracle Cup this last year was our newfound relationship with SAE, a fraternity on our campus. So we presented this Miracle Cup at our president's meetings. So the presidents of all the sororities and fraternities, and they loved it. And SAE came to us and mentioned that their philanthropy is actually Children's Miracle Network. So they paired with us and agreed that they would host their annual fundraising week, which is this Patty Murphy week that celebrates what they do and fundraise for a week. And they're going to take all that money and put it onto our donor drive page. So that will go into our 2025 total, which is really exciting. So this cup ultimately just started relationships with them and a lot of other organizations on campus as well. So really quickly, how the competition works. So last year we hosted it in two parts. We had a fall and a spring part. So the fall challenge was a registration challenge hosted during rivalry week, which is a week we host the week before we play our rival, which in football, which is University of South Carolina. So we connect with their dance marathon program, and each day we have a little competition between the two of us. One's like social media day, and then in this picture to the left, we did penny wars against them. Um, so that's Lizzie. She's hosting our penny war table. And so as you can see in each jar is a sorority or fraternity. And if they dropped a penny, they got to be counted as participating that day. And then the spring challenge focused on fundraising. So we fundraised all week leading up to the dance marathon event on that Saturday. So the winning organization of the fall challenge received a $100 donation to their philanthropy, and then the winning organization of the spring one received a $200 donation. So a really quick overview of the point system, just so you guys can see how it works. So this is our point system we had during the fall challenge, which was our rivalry week. So we did 25 points for each participant registered, 10 points for every $5 on donor drive, and then 15 points if someone bought a shirt, and 10 points if they participated in the blood bowl, which is a blood drive. And then in the spring, we had our fundraising week, and a little overview of our point system there. We did 25 points awarded to the organization for every $10 donated to their team, and then 10 points for every registered participant, and 50 points if the team made a banner. So if they made like a banner that we hung around the gym, it said like Zeta loves the kids, or 80 pie for kids, and they kind of took their own spin on it. And then every participant who attends was awarded 25 points. So some revisions that we're going to make going forth. The goal of these revisions to this cup are ultimately to better follow the sprint model, which, as we know, focuses on registration efforts in the spring rather than the fall. So we kind of want to flip it. Like, we did registration in the fall and fundraising in the spring, but now we're kind of going to flip it and then just make it a year-long consistent competition instead. So we also want to simplify our point system. So like we just went over the fall and spring points, and it's a lot of like 5s, 10s, 15s. So we're just going to simplify it a little bit. So if organizations want to keep track on their own, they can. And then we want to increase participation in smaller events leading up to dance marathons. So we want to really get these organizations out and participating in our like mini events. So we have like a kickball tournament, a 5K. I'll go more into that. But we'd like them to come out, and that way that's a fundraising effort because they're purchasing tickets to these events, and two, they're learning about what we do, and what we do is a year-long effort, not just celebrating at Dance Marathon. So to make these goals happen, we're going to switch it and make it a year-long event instead of like a two-part competition, and utilize more smaller events throughout the year to maintain engagement year-long. So we're going to encourage them to come to our reindeer run, which is in December, and then our fall kickoff kickball tournament. That'll be the start of the events that qualify you for points. So that's usually held at the end of October, beginning of November. And like you see right there, we have our Greek organizations come out, and they make a team full of like 10 or 15 people, and they compete. We put them in a bracket. And then points will be received through organization participation in these smaller events in the fall, and then registration efforts in the spring. So we'll just gear points being awarded in the spring more for registering. And then the revised point system, I won't go super into detail, but like we're going to do 5 points for registering a team for a kickball tournament, and then 1 point for every day your organization participates in rivalry week, 1 for every participant in the 5K, 5 to the organization whose president on President's Day registers the most participants with a discount code we give them, and then 5 for an organization who raises the most money on All-In Day, which is our biggest fundraising push of the year. It's held about 2 weeks before Dance Marathon, and it's like a 48-hour event. And then 2 points for every member who attends dance marathon. So, and then we'll announce our winners at dance marathon, and there'll be just a first and a second place. So there won't be a winner of a fall and a spring. We'll just do the two there. And first place will get 200 there for philanthropy, and then second will get 100. So we obviously have tailored this cup to our organization, calling it the Miracle Cup, but the idea of it is simple and can be molded into or molded for other organizations to use for sure. As long as you have great organizations on campus, or you can even include clubs around campus. I know we included some clubs this last year, but this year I do think we want to focus more on getting just Greek organizations involved because they're so much bigger, obviously. But we do love clubs coming out and creating teams at Dance Marathon. So first, you want to identify your small events that your program hosts leading up to Dance Marathon. And I mean, these can be as small as ice cream socials on campus or um, like selling grilled cheeses downtown or like that. They don't have to be big, like 5Ks and kickball tournaments. And then organize a point system that's easy for you and other organizations to understand. And then present the competition to Greek organizations chapter meetings. So I was the recruitment chair last year. I went to tons of chapter meetings and talked about what Clemson Miracle was. And then I did a small tidbit about this is how you guys can get involved as an organization. This is our Miracle Cup. And we gave a short presentation about the Miracle Cup. So you could create a little cup presentation. And then we included a sign up link in it for their presidents to sign up their organization. And then and then develop a scoring system to keep track of points and share with organizations after each event. So I would recommend having someone that's really good with Google Sheets or Excel sheets to keep track of points in your organization. And then we like post on Instagram like 80 pies in first place with this many points after each little event. And that's all I have for you guys. Thank y'all and have a good rest of your days.
Hello, my name is Allison Thomas. I am the Vice President of Advancement here at Ohio State University for the Thon program Buckeye-thon, and I am going to be talking about the Greek Life chapter walks. One of the biggest things that is important to emphasize right now is the true importance of Greek life to our university, as well as I'm sure many others. After our 2021 November dance marathon, we had experienced a significant drop in fundraising and engagement throughout campus, so we decided to reassess. And we realized that a huge percent of Buckeye-thon's registration and fundraising up until 2020 actually came from Greek life. And the biggest reason for this was because Buckeye-thon's engagement model, which was bringing philanthropy to existing communities on campus, fit heavily within Greek life because they did have such a strong community. And we needed a way to get in front of Greek life and encourage the team captain program, as the team captain program was essential to our outreach onto campus and the success of the entire year. So we had implemented a new model of engagement for Greek life labeled chapter walks. The concept of chapter walks was essentially that a small committee underneath our family relations committee, which was focused around our families and engaging our hospital, had essentially walked through our Greek life street every Monday, as they had chapter meetings every single Monday at a certain amount of time. And they would walk through the street and attend maybe 2 to 3 chapters per Monday. And this is chapters of past involvement along with organizations that we wanted to engage heavily this year. We were able to interact with our champion kids and our families. We would always bring a family and a kid to these chapters, and they were able to get essentially one-on-one time that they wouldn't have been able to engage in outside of this type of meet. They at these chapter meetings, we essentially put up a short presentation where they received personalized fundraising tips, continued on traditions like passing of the duck. This was something that we implemented a few years ago, where we essentially passed a little stuffed duck from our hospital to our most engaged chapter of the week, and that would essentially be passed every single Monday to a different chapter. Just something to continue. The photos were adorable. It was a really fun time. At these meetings, we also were able to encourage our team captain role heavily. This was something that was a huge success for us because we were in front of these chapters either due to like a philanthropy chair connection or maybe just like a personal connection as well. And so we were able to go in front of these chapters and say, we would love if the philanthropy chair, and if that designation doesn't work, then somebody else that the leadership team in front of you or you guys can vote on who the role for a team captain would fit best with your guys' organizations. And this allowed us to actually essentially fill 100% of our team captain roles with all of the chapters that we engaged this year, and they were all people that could heavily recount these chapter walk meetings. And this also motivated our SFL teams, or as what we call our Greek life, with this specific initiative, because this was something that we only offered up to our chapters. It was a really fun event. As you can see, this is a registration demographic breakdown. This just shows how much of an engagement increase that we saw with Greek life, our fraternity and sorority life, sororities and fraternities that made up a huge portion of what our registration for this year looked like. And that was minimal compared to what it has been. Like, this was a huge increase compared to the minimal that we've had in these past few years. So that was an extremely exciting number to see. Chapter walks engaged our Greek life demographic immensely, allowed us to solidify our team captain program, as I had mentioned earlier, and it has allowed our Greek life to make up over 24% of our total fundraising this year, which is a huge percentage, and a huge jump from the years that we have been going through ever since COVID. And so this was an extremely important initiative this year, and something that we are very much focusing our efforts on this upcoming year as well. Thank you. My name is Allison Thomas, and feel free to reach out to me via email or phone number if you have any questions at all.